Hi, have a good day. This is Aurelio Porfiri speaking, and welcome to this episode of the Cantus podcast. We are now in the Lent season, and today I want to tell you a story that I think is very instructive. In the sense that let us understand really the situation we are all in these times if we want to participate in a Catholic liturgy that is really dignified and is worthy of the glory that we own to God. So the story is like this. Few months ago, there was a time I was not very well with my health. Of course, the situation with the lockdown, with the COVID 19, have an influence on that because, of course, for everyone, those were times that were very challenging. Also, under an emotional point of view. Today, we are still in the coronavirus pandemics, but we became a little more used to that. In the first months, it was really terrible. So, in a certain way, I was affected by that kind of atmosphere, and many other people were affected. So, it's not about me. But in any case, after the worst moment that I have, I start to feel better. And so I thought that maybe I can slowly return to my usual life. And so I go to a church. I don't want to say what church is, but I go to a church and I ask to speak with the pastor. So this pastor was a new pastor in this church, was not the usual pastor I knew. So I asked the pastor if I can speak with him. He bring him in his office, and I told him, I say, Father, if you allow me, I am a professional church musician. I was not well in the past few weeks, but now I want to react, and so I want to offer to play for your church. And by the way, I was also willing to play for free. I mean, I just want to have an occasion to be on the road, if you allow me this kind of phrase. So I asked him if I can play in his church. By the way, you need to know that in the past, in the past years, I played many times in the church. So I was well known in the church. Not that they don't know me; they know me very well, very very well. I have to say. So I asked the pastor, and I thought he was happy about that because I offer, today, especially here in Italy. I mean, they don't think that the people uh, that are doing a service, a professional service for the church, they have to be paid. I don't know why. I have also written a book in Italian about this topic, but this is one of the reasons why the situation of church music here is so low, because most of the pastors of the priests, they don't think that you should be paid when you are performing a professional service. It's like, yeah, I don't know, like not paying the people that bring the flowers, or the people that take care of the electricity in the churches. So you tell them that you don't pay them, you see their answer. But this is the mentality. But now this is not about this, but it's about my meeting with this pastor. So I offer him to play, and the pastor say, "Oh, it's not possible." And I say, but how come? I was surprised. I mean, I sometimes I participate in the masses in that church, and I hear some people playing there, and believe me, I mean, they were not certainly better than me. Not at all. I mean, they were really amateurs, but not in the good sense of this word, because there are also good amateur, and they are really worthy to play because they play well. I mean, the problem here is not to have the degree or not the degree, but to be able to play well or not. And these people were certainly not. And myself, I have like 35 years experience playing in church, and even if my degree in music is not in organ but is in choral music or in composition, but still I have a very long experience in playing the organ in church. So I asked the pastor because I was surprised, and I said, but sorry, Father, why I cannot play? And he told me, because there is no one that can sing. And I say, oh, okay, but no problem. I can play the organ alone when there are the moments like in the introit or the offertory, the communion, and the end. And he said, but this is not possible. I said, how come it's not possible? I mean, but that is something very normal in church. They say, no, because the organ cannot be played alone, can only be played if someone is singing. I say, Father, sorry, but this is not true. This is true in Lent. So in Lent or in Advent, the organ can play only to accompany the singing. But in the other time of the year, the liturgical time of the year, it's certainly very possible that the organ can play alone, and you can see it also in the masses of the Pope. I mean, I don't consider that as an example of good uh, ceremony, but at least, I mean, you can see that those kind of masses that are televised, and of course many people look. I mean, the organ play, and this is very normal. I mean, it is in all the documents that the organ can be played alone. There is an entire body of millions of pieces written for the organ exactly for the reason that the organ can be played alone uh, during those liturgical times that are not Advent or Lent. So I was very surprised, and I start to tell him because certainly I'm not silent. Say, but Father, you are wrong about this. It's not, and of course, he became a little upset, and he told me, "Oh, you want to teach a priest how to say mass?" I say, Father, sorry, I think I really can teach you because on this topic I devote most of my life, and I publish more than 60 books. Most of them have to do with liturgy. So I think I know something about this. And also in the past, I was for a few years one of the organists in St. Peter's Basilica. And so I have a very long experience playing the organ. And I think I read the documents. I mean, I'm not just talking like telling you my opinion, but I read the documents. And so I was also very embarrassed, but I was embarrassed for him, not for myself. I mean, I know I was right, and I am right. But I realized that this church, that is also very dear to me, basically is in Lent the whole year. So the organ cannot be played alone, according the opinion of this pastor that, of course, is really wrong. And so I was not able to offer my service that, I repeat, I offer voluntarily. So I mean, I thought that I was to be appreciated by these people, and not not told what they what he told me. So this is just to tell you that this is the situation. We today do not rely on the documents, or that sometimes are also questionable, and this maybe we can talk in another occasion, but we rely on the fancy of priests that want to impose their own wrong ideas that also are against what are the used and the tradition of the church. So this was very sad, but indeed is not something new, because if you think what, for example, the then Cardinal Ratzinger wrote in one of his essays talking about the interpretation of Sacrosanctum Concilium. Sacrosanctum Concilium say that the treasure of sacred music is something that has to be fostered and preserved. There are words on this line, and he said, and remembered in this essay that two very famous theologians, one of them was the ultra famous Karl Rahner. They say that oh, but the interpretation of this passage was that yes, music has to be preserved, but not in the liturgy. The treasure of sacred music is not to be preserved in the liturgy, but outside the liturgy, like for the concerts. So, but this is just his own interpretation, because how come that a constitution that is about liturgy will say that the treasure of sacred music is something to be preserved and fostered, and we have to interpret in the sense that uh, this statement is not for liturgy itself, but is for something else. So this is really something that you want to put inside to confirm your own ideas and your own agenda. So all of this is just to tell you that many priests are really trying to defend their own agenda and their own ideas, usually progressive ideas that have nothing to do with what the church has always taught and what the dignity of the liturgy demand. So, uh, this podcast, I think, will tell you and hope will suggest you to be always on the alert, when other people talk about liturgy and sacred music, also if they are priests, also if they are bishops, also if they are cardinals, because sometimes they do not really are uh, preserving and defending what the church asked them to defend and preserve, but they're only bringing forward their own ideas. And we are not certainly interested in their own ideas. We are not Catholic to follow the ideas of this individual priest, bishop, or cardinal, or even higher, if they don't defend what the church has always taught. So, thank you very much for your listening to this podcast. If you want to comment, you can comment below. Please subscribe and support this podcast and this newsletter, so that will help me to continue doing this at the best of my ability. Thank you very much, and bye bye.